How's it going?
Cheers, all good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you to both of you for coming in and doing this interview.
Sure. Thanks. Thanks for
Uh,
having us.
What's up?
well, awesome. Well, it's great to be able to have both of you on here and be able to talk about some brand new Satan's Fall, which is coming out a week from Friday through Steamhammer SPV.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
That's what's
happening.
gonna happen.
Destination Destruction on 3rd of November. Yes.
yeah, and I've gotten the chance to be able to check out this album, thankfully, and I just love everything that's going on here. I really feel like it's the best work that you guys have done. It just feels right now, and I mean it's released in perfect timing, with the fall autumn time of the year. It just feels right, and I love all the songs. The production just feels so great. Everything about this just feels like a fantastic album from start to finish.
Yeah, great
Thanks.
to
That's
hear.
a pleasure to hear. Also have to mention that that means that then it's the first full-length album that we release with perfect timing, as the previous one sucked pretty hard. So nice to hear that we got that one right as well this time.
So with that in mind, I mean, how are you feeling with the album coming out next week? Like, how does it feel?
Yeah, it's really exciting because, as you said, the timing is now right, and we can actually like tour the album and have gigs with these new songs like when they are fresh. Because album the final day we couldn't tour at all, and actually the songs are kind of feel new to perform live now, even though it's been like years since that. So it's I think it's exciting, and I think the reception so far that we've heard has been good, as you said. So, but
Yeah, I
you wrote
agree.
the album.
I agree, and it's really a nice opportunity to release an album when you know that there's at least a theoretical chance to play live shows as well. So that was a pretty big blow, of course, on the first album on the final day that we released a few years back. But then again, it happened for everyone, so I don't know. I don't want to
It is what it
complain
is.
about it too much. Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. But this is nice. This is really a great chance for the second album now.
Yeah, and it is so unfortunate. I mean, you can never see those kinds of things happening either. I mean, especially when you are releasing the first LP and you want to make sure everything's going right, and then some worldwide events start to happen that prevents a lot of things from happening. But thankfully this time around, like you've mentioned, I mean, I imagine that touring plans are happening, especially for next year, to be able to really promote this album in the proper way.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. So we're touring Europe on spring, and let's see what the crop brings for the other gigs.
Hopefully some festivals for the summer and so on. But it's still there's quite a lot of booking to be made before that happens.
Oh, for sure. So thinking about that, how was it to start writing for the new album?
Well, I think well, after the first album got such a good reception and everything, and we had some riffs laying around and some song ideas and so on, and of course you have to write a follow-up for such good reception, and it began with we had Lead the Way, I think, and some version of Dark Star and the Garden of Fire, and of course there were lineup changes and everything, so that messed things up a bit, but fortunately we found replacements really quick, so and I don't know, just threw up some riffs and ideas around, and it really went with that kind of naturally. Of course there was the pressure of second album and everything, so there was a lot of stress in the band, I think. But it turned out fine in the end.
Yeah,
So-
and there was not that much else to do meanwhile, because we were not not playing live that extensively at that time period. So, but yeah, it's well, I think the result speaks for itself, and it's a really nice compilation of songs on the album. So.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, as much as I love the debut, I love what's going on here, and everything just feels just a little bit tighter. It feels a little bit more right for what the band is right now, and yeah, I mean, it's great to see that even with lineup changes that do happen, that fire can still strike hard, and everything goes in the right direction.
Absolutely,
yeah,
and I think it actually brought some new aspects as well when like when, for example, Ville and Artur joined the band, new guys after the previous album. Of course, it changed a bit of the writing dynamics and systems and so on. And everyone has their own style. And in addition, I have to mention that we still managed to keep our previous guitarist Lassi as a producer and recorder for this album, which was a huge plus for the whole band and for the album. And I mean, it wouldn't sound like this if we didn't have Lassi working with us still. So
yeah,
it was a perfect combination of new energy coming in. I'm not saying the previous ones were lacking energy; they just had to focus on other things in life. But new energy coming in and still having Lassi from our previous lineup, still actually writing also for this album and then producing the album. So that was a great combo, really good one.
Yeah, and in the studio, it was clear because we had already the experience of the previous album, and Lassi knew what I could do, vocally and so on, and he could push me in the studio even more, and we had a good chemistry in the studio. So
push him sing a bit higher.
Yeah, it's not even the
just a bit
highest
higher.
note on the piano.
Yeah, exactly. There's still room here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really hear everyone in the band pushing themselves on this album as well too. So I'm glad to see that, jokingly or not, I mean, that was something that was important into the band, being able to play the best to your abilities, write the best songs. And another thing I truly appreciate about the album is the diversity that's going along with it as well too. Whether it's more acoustic driven, whether it's full speed ahead, everything feels like it's in the right place on the album, from the track listing to just the songs in general.
Yeah, of course, the track listing and the order of album, it goes kind of like a conceptual album, and of course we don't want to have the same song twice on the album anyways, so it flows through really nicely, and it actually tells a story kind of loosely, and yeah, that's why probably you think you have the idea that everything flows around well, because it was actually planned that way. So it's not throw this song here and whatever because this is a fast one or something, but it actually has a story to tell.
Yeah, and Miika obviously has the sort of responsibility for lyric-wise for the album, but in addition, we are still thinking about the albums in an LP format. So it's also a big part of it how you lay it on the A side and the B side and so on. So all of us really still, of course, we are into albums, not just separate songs or a compilation of songs, but more so as an album entirety. So it's also a sort of a big process to think through what would be the sort of best way to organize that all, and I think it succeeded pretty nicely here.
Yeah, and it was actually the idea for me, at least in the beginning, to have Lead the Way as the beginning song of the album, opening track. We discussed about that, and then have the Dark Star in the end. And I had the lyric ideas for those, and then everything went in between nicely what we wrote. So
yeah, that's such a good way to go about it too. I mean, of course, when you're running a conceptual album, there's so many different ways you can go about it, from linear to non-linear storytelling, whether everything's in chronological order or I interviewed a band a couple weeks ago that has done separate parts of a story over several types of albums where they just might have like 1 or 2 songs on an album to be able to continue the story. So there's so many different ways you could do it conceptually, but again, just like everything just flows together so great on here, and it does tell a fantastic story that really matches the music so well.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, but yeah, it's a lot of ways to do it, and from this album, it's like different viewpoints of certain story.
So thinking about that, I mean, what was it like for you to come up with this conceptually?
Well, I don't know. I kind of tried that on the final day, but of course, it was like a longer span of songwriting and whatever that was written then and whatever. So it was more difficult. But on this one, I had the ideas whenever the songs came up, but that this could be this part of the story, whatever the order would be. But actually, it flowed around quite nicely when I think the last song we wrote was "Kill the Machine," but it was actually one of the first songs anyway to that was there like musically, but lyrically that was probably one of the last ones. And,
it was waiting there.
And, yeah, it was waiting for its spot.
Yeah,
and of course, No Gods, No Masters was one of the later ones, of course. And, yeah, thinking about those, just trying to fit everything in its proper place, and that it would flow along musically also.
Yeah, and again, I really love how that all flows together. And of course, audibly, there's so much to love about this album. But of course, looking at your background here, you're able to show off the fantastic album artwork that is going along with the album. That just, again, I can't say it enough. It just flows together so perfectly. Like it really sets the atmosphere for the entire album. And I gotta imagine, especially on vinyl, how amazing that artwork has to look.
Yeah, we are still waiting to see it ourselves as well on the whole, LP cover. But it sure is a great artwork, and we were really happy with the result, how it turned out. It's Dan Goldsworthy, who did the work, he was actually speaking something about it in an interview, I think a week ago or so. And the initial artwork was something we didn't really find matching the album that well. And it was then discussed with the artist himself, and then he sort of really got what it's about and sort of changed the approach, and the result is great. I really like it.
Oh, that's just so cool. And it doesn't it's not said enough like how important it is to be able to find the right people to be able to work with, whether it is the lineup that you're a part of or whoever's behind the producing board, whoever's doing the artwork, the labels. I mean, it's so important, especially when you get to that next level, to make sure that you're working with the right group of people to be able to make everything work in the right way. And it really feels like from everything from being able to work with Steamhammer to the amazing artwork, the amazing visuals and everything that went into the music video so far and everything else that goes into this, it feels like everything's going in the right direction for the band.
That's actually a pretty good observation. I think that's something that I haven't been really thinking about myself, but that's true that now we have, for example, the music videos you mentioned. We did a video for the first album for Juggernaut with Esa Justila, and Esa, continued working with us now for these singles that we have now released, Lead the Way and Afterglow. And it's just such a pleasure to work with him also, like such a professional that it's always nice to go and shoot a video with him. And the same thing as we mentioned about the work in the studio, that we had Lassi working as the studio engineer and as a producer for us. And it's when you're working with guys of this caliber, it makes everything easier and nicer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think, and also like with the album cover and everything, it was a fine pick for this album. And I don't know what the future brings, but I think we have a working formula now.
Oh, and I'm so glad to see it. I mean, especially again, like with how rocky things were a couple years ago in so many different ways, that again, that things are going in the right direction. And, as great as everything does sound on the album, and it truly does, I can't wait to see how these songs turn out in that live setting. I mean, being able to finally represent both albums the way that they should be, and just being able to put things together. So, like with that in mind, I mean, how hard is it now to like start formulating what a set list could be?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more difficult, especially if we have like at most like 1 hour slots for everything, and we have a good collection of songs, even though it's like 2 albums. So maybe we have to like switch songs between shows or something, because of course we can't play all the favorites anyways during 1 hour. So yeah, I think it's going to be difficult, but I'm looking forward to like rehearsing these songs for live setting.
Yeah, I think it's a very positive problem because, of course, first when we started, we recorded the demo and then the EP, and we played those songs live quite a lot. I mean, like, depends what's a lot, but like, let's say on most of our shows anyway. And now that the final day has actually still quite a lot of songs that we could use more in the live set lists, and now with Destination Destruction adding on top of that, I think it just creates nice variation opportunities for the upcoming live shows. So there's more chances to change the songs than back in those times when we only had the demo and the EP. You can't choose much there.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, like you've mentioned, there's so much to choose from. There's so much variety in sounds that could work with that as well too. And I really feel like even if you get up to that hour of a set list, I mean, there's so many different directions it could go into. Playing the favorites, playing the band's favorites, playing some B-sides. There's so many great ways to go about it, and I'm just excited about that. Even though I live over here in the States, I'm just excited to see what the set list will be for you guys, because and all the show opportunities that will come, especially with next year, now that things are getting back to normal each and every year, and live shows are happening more and more, and all the opportunities that'll come from that as well.
Yeah, I hope to get to the
Yes.
States to play to you as well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, also looking forward to it, but never know what's coming. So let's see. Let's enjoy the ride.
Oh, definitely. So, with also that in mind, I mean, obviously with you've been working on these songs for a bit of time now. I mean, are you already thinking about the next album, or are you just solely focused on this album, or what's going on with the band right now?
Yeah, I think there are ideas flown around already, like new riffs and everything, and we have time up until like next March to just rehearse and like make new songs. So of course we are looking forward to writing songs for the third album.
Yeah, I think it was actually only, what was it, 4 or 5 hours ago that Tommy, our guitarist, sent a clip to the WhatsApp group and asked about some feedback and ideas, and Ville to add some guitar lead on top of that. So something is already happening, but of course now the focus has been mainly on this album so far. So I think that now after the release we can start to like sort of fully focus on the live performances, but also the upcoming songs then next recording, whenever that's going to happen.
Yeah, get that out of the oven first, because it's been like I think we finished recording January or something.
Yeah, January, February this year. Yeah, so more than so, I don't know, 8
so
months
it's been
ago.
Like you gotta have the closure of releasing the album and then start to focus on the next.
Oh, for sure. And I'm glad to see that both is happening, being able to focus on this album and still coming up with ideas for the next release. And, just all sides of the band are working as strong as it can be. And of course, again, with the touring, working on new material and everything that's going on right now, I can't say again how happy I am to see that the band is where it's at right now, on a great label, working with great people. And just again, just like with this lineup, rejuvenating the band, even though if you didn't know you needed it or not. I mean, just being able to see what's capable on a sophomore album and then whatever can happen on the next release, I'm just so excited for, because again, it just feels like everything is going in the right direction, and I'm so excited about that. The more I listen to this particular album, the more that I am enjoying it and loving everything that's going on, and I can only imagine that's going to be happening from here on out.
We can only hope that will be happening from here on. Let's hope so. Yeah.
Oh, that's for sure. So, thinking about that again, like when you're coming up with the ideas for the stage show, I mean, obviously the set list is important, but how does it go about like with the rest of the show, like the aesthetics of the show or the gear or anything like that? I mean, is all of that set in motion for what's going to be happening coming up?
Well, hopefully starting to grow on that aspect too. But I mean, of course, there are the visual aesthetics that we enjoy and we represent in our live shows, and we also in the albums covers and photos and so on. But to be honest, it's not the thing we've been paying most focus to. I mean, it's really been now focusing on the songwriting and on the songs themselves to make them better now. And hopefully, if that will sort of lead into the live shows and more gigs, more festivals to be played, then that's definitely a thing that we should push more also. But like for the last few years, there's the focus, I would say, has been improving on the actual songs themselves, not even the riffs or like one single melody or anything, but the song works and the songs are good.
Yeah, that's true. And whenever we travel, we don't actually travel with lots of like trucks or something like that. So it's tough to bring something else than us and our instruments.
Yeah, of course, it's also
waiting for
a budget question.
Waiting for those AC/DC cannons and whatever.
I'd love to see that happen. Yeah. At one point, I'd love to see that happen. But no, I'm glad that the songs are the main focus. I mean, whether it's just making sure that they're live ready or in the studio, making sure that they're the best songs that they possibly can be, because that is first and foremost what should be the focus of any band, is making sure that the songs are as good as they possibly can be, and hopefully enjoyed by as many people as possible. So, making sure that that's the biggest aspect is so important.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I agree. No disagreements there.
Oh, awesome. Well, again, I want to thank both of you for taking the time to be able to talk about everything that's going on in the world of Satan's Fall right now. Again, I love this album, and I think it's going to rank very high for me next month when I do my top albums of 2023. I really love everything that's going on here, and I just appreciate both of you being able to take the time to be able to talk to me about all of it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
No
Our
worries.
pleasure. Really nice to have a talk about it. And it's always nice to hear the views and the experiences from people who actually pay attention to the music and listen to those. So it's thanks for you.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad to do it. Before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I haven't brought up yet?
Probably that Modern Talking and Kenny Loggins are some of the best artists in the world. No, come see us live. That's a cut.
Oh, awesome. A great note to end on. Oh, awesome. Well, again, I want to thank both of you for taking the time to do this. A little bit nervous on my end, but I apologize about that. But it was great to be able to talk to both of you about the album. Hopefully this interview should be up within a couple hours or so on YouTube and everything to be able to promote this album properly. And one last time, I love the album. Thank you again for taking the time to do this, and I hope you both have a great rest of the day.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and keep your debriefings heavy.
Will do. Thank you. Bye-bye.